Hey everyone, welcome back to Foxtech, and we're back again with another ultimate display comparison. This time it includes three iPhones, the regular iPhone 12, the iPhone 12 mini and the iPhone 12 Pro Max, as well as three Android phones, the Pixel 4a, the Pixel 5 and the OnePlus Nord. Not long ago I started seeing people complain about Green Tint and other display issues on the new iPhone 12s this year. So I decided to do some tests and comparisons to check it out for myself. I'm Gary, this is Foxtech, let's get it. I'm going to cover two main things in this video. Green tint or other differences in the displays, as well as black crush on all six models, and when it comes to the Android phones, black bars along the top of the display from the hole punch. I'll go through all iPhones first before then comparing all six phones side by side using Google Chrome, and remember throughout I'm showing results and discussing what I think, but you can also come to your own conclusions. Alright, let's go. Firstly, all these pictures and videos were taken on the iPhone 12 or the 12 mini, meaning they're basically taken on the exact same phone. On the iPhone side of things, I took pictures of the software update screen, which is where issues have been seen. I took them at 0%, 25%, 50% and 75% brightness levels, and here are the results at each point. You can see at 0% brightness that the 12 mini, the 12 and the 12 Pro Max show the black screen really well. There doesn't really seem to be much wrong across the board when looking at them side by side. The differences are negligible, and it's incredibly hard to notice if there are any major differences. I'm impressed with them all here, and as you can tell, I don't see the major issues that others have been seeing. The same goes for every other brightness level that I tested on this screen. At 25%, 50% and 75%, there are barely any differences between the three iPhone displays. Definitely not to the degree that other people have been mentioning. We're not done yet though. There are more tests and strange results to come, but I wanted to group these here so you could see there aren't major differences in my iPhone 12 displays in the first test. Now into comparing all six phones using Google Chrome. You can see in the first image all phones are side by side at 0% brightness on Google Chrome in dark mode. The background is grey usually, check it out for yourself. From this picture you can see that the iPhones have quite uniform displays, but the 12 Pro Max has more of a green hue to it, especially compared to the 12. The 12 looks the most grey out of the iPhones in this first one, and the mini seems to be in the middle ground between the other two. When we look at the Android phones, there's quite a bit of variation. Throughout these tests, the Pixel 5 and the OnePlus Nord will always be at 90Hz refresh rate, whereas the other four are at 60Hz, so that's important to remember. The 4a is uniform but slightly green, although not as much as the 12 Pro Max. The Pixel 5 is slightly patchy, but less green, and the Nord, well, it's black. Honestly, I don't know how the Nord is that dark, but this is what it actually looked like, and it gets even more interesting when we go further into this. There's no black bar along the top of the hole punch at the top of the display on the Pixel 4a or the Pixel 5, but there clearly is on the OnePlus Nord. The Nord looks the worst here in my opinion. On to 25% brightness, and we see all iPhones looking quite uniform again. They're all pretty similar in this one, with the 12 mini and the Pro Max looking the same, and the regular 12 just a bit darker grey. There's no massive differences though, and unless they're being compared side by side like this, you'll never notice. The three Android phones look totally different this time around. The Pixel 4a is looking the best really, the most grey and uniform. The Pixel 5 looks way more green than the Pixel 4a this time around, but does look uniform with no patches. It's surprising how they've changed from the first image. The OnePlus Nord looks, well, bad. It looks patchy and kind of all over the place if I'm honest. It looks the worst out of the six in my opinion. The black bar is only just noticeable at the top now on the OnePlus Nord at 25% brightness. Still no black bar on the Pixel 4a or the Pixel 5, and remember the Pixel 5 and the Nord are both running at 90Hz. Now onto 50%, and here we see some big changes. The iPhones are looking very uniform as normal. There's no massive differences between the three models in this one from what I can see, but you let me know if you see any difference in the comments below. On the Android side of things, the Pixel 4a and the Pixel 5 are looking pretty uniform and similar in colour. If anything, the Pixel 5 is just ever so slightly lighter. But the OnePlus Nord has now popped into life a bit. I don't really know how to explain how this looks if I'm honest, so make your own mind up. You'll see in a test later in the video, but there's a point in brightness where the Nord just flicks a switch and the display totally changes. No more bar at the top, the screen looks uniform and pretty bright to be honest, but a different colour to the rest. It's the one that stands out because it looks so much different to the other five. The iPhones have a very similar look to the Pixels, but seem to be brighter overall at 50%. Now at 75% we can see all the phones looking uniform, although there are some colour differences between them. The iPhone's looking incredibly similar, just with the 12 Pro Max having more of a green tint to the display than the other two. I don't know if it's a huge difference, but there clearly is a slight difference there. The Pixel 4a looks fine, not as bright as the iPhones, but uniform and grey. The Pixel 5 looks like a lighter grey, but no issues from what I can see, just might be a bit brighter. The Nord is the same as the last time, just brighter overall. It's a different colour to the rest, but it's hard to explain again. So they're the still images done, and we've gone through comparisons at 4 different brightness levels across the board. So we're going to move on to the next section. Let me know in the comments below what you think so far. In this section, I go through 2 brightness changing tests. One in Google Chrome so that you can see a difference on the Chrome home screen, and one in a YouTube Black Crush video test. I only tested the Android phones this time around because you can't change the brightness of iPhones while continuously looking at what's being displayed on the screen, so they had to be left out, unfortunately. You can see all 3 on screen: the Pixel 4a, the Pixel 5 and the OnePlus Nord. The Pixel 4a starts out uniform, as you saw before, then at about 10% it pops and changes a bit, but it stays quite uniform throughout the brightness levels. It has a change at around 10 to 15%, but that's about it. The Pixel 5 isn't too bad. It starts off patchy towards the bottom right like we saw in the images before, but then going through the brightness levels it's quite consistent. Colours change slightly at the low brightness, but there's no obvious pop, and it continues all the way to 100%. The OnePlus Nord is the one that's all over the place. It starts out much darker than the rest like you saw earlier, and that bar is visible at the top. When you go through the brightness levels though, the colours change quite a lot. You see at about 25% the screen changes. It's like a toggle has been switched. The bar along the hole punch disappears as the brightness increases, and the colours change between 0 and 25% quite a lot. But when it gets to 25% brightness and it switches to the brighter mode, it stays like that for the rest up to 100%. Have a watch and let me know what you think about them so far. Finally, we get into the YouTube Black Crush test. Again, this is between the 3 droids starting with the Pixel 4a. In this one, there are a number of different shaded squares, and it's useful to see how the screens manage blacks and dark greys. In the 4a, at about 10%, the colours change to a green shade and then back to grey, before continuing with grey and black for the rest of it. On the Pixel 5, the colours stay grey and black the whole time mostly while going through the brightness, no crazy changes. It's interesting to see how darker squares become more and less visible at different times, just like on the Pixel 4a and the OnePlus Nord, but the Pixel 5, by the looks of it, isn't too bad. And finally, onto the OnePlus Nord. Again, starting darker, but also more of a purple tint to it. The Nord goes from purple to grey, then back to purple, then back to grey again. You can see it as it goes through the different brightness levels. Again, I'd say the Nord is the worst here, but if you check out all 3, come to your own conclusions and let me know what you think in the comments below. And there we have it. All tests are complete and you can see everything in the video and come to your own conclusions. From my side of things, I think all 3 iPhone screens look fine. Very minor differences throughout, and like I said before, I've not seen the terrible screen issues that others have been seeing. I think they look really uniform. I did compare my iPhone 12 mini alongside an iPhone XS Max on a white background, and I saw it had a warmer tone to it, a slightly yellow tint, but nothing massive at all. I'm not saying others don't have worse issues, I'm just sharing my experiences. On the Android side, the OnePlus Nord looks the worst from these tests. The Pixel 4a and the Pixel 5 don't do a bad job other than the slight differences in colour and brightness at times, but you can see all the differences in these pictures and videos. Remember, both the Nord and the Pixel 5 were at 90Hz the whole time, so it's safe to say the Pixel 5 copes way better with 90Hz than the OnePlus Nord does. Anyway, that's all from me. Let me know what you think of the displays and the video in the comments below. Do you have either of these phones? Have you had any issues? That's it from me. Thanks for watching. This was Fox Tech, and I'll catch you in the next one.